Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Radiant Central, and I'm your host Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to talk about juicing cabbage. Cabbage is actually one of my most favorite green leafy vegetables to juice, and not only because it has a wide array of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. It's fantastic for your digestion. It's also a great anti-inflammatory, but cabbage is extremely cheap. And when you're making juices, out of all the green leafy vegetables, I find that cabbage actually yields the most juice. So not only is it cost effective, but you're getting more juice out of it compared to other green leafy vegetables. So cabbage is up there as one of my most favorite green leafy vegetables to juice. And I also have to say too, what's great about it is that I would say cabbage is available all over the world. I have never been to a single place that doesn't have some form of cabbage available. And so what I want to do today is talk about the different varieties that are available and how they taste a little bit different. For those that are interested in juicing cabbage, sometimes you might have already experimented with juicing cabbage only to find that it was extremely strong in taste and you didn't like the taste, or it didn't taste right in your juice. So the one thing that I've found over the years of juicing many different types of cabbages is that they don't all taste the same. And so one type of cabbage might have a very subtle taste, whereas another type might have a very strong or even spicy taste. So I wanted to show you a few varieties and explain the differences so that you know when you're making your next juice or you want to experiment with cabbage, which ones to sort of start out with to experiment with, and later on as you get used to the taste, what other ones you can try that perhaps are a little bit stronger, and also just knowing too that if one has a more subtle taste, then you can use more of it in your juice, whereas if another one is more spicy or has a really strong taste to it, then you would want to use less in your juice. And at the end of the video, I'm actually going to share one of my favorite cabbage juice recipes. All right, so let's first get started with the different types of cabbage. I've got 3 cabbages I'm going to show you, 3 different types. And each one, I would say, sort of represents the different taste and the strength of the taste that you would get in a juice by using that cabbage. And the first one we're going to start off with is Chinese cabbage. And Chinese cabbage, I would say, is the most perfect beginner cabbage. Okay, so someone that has never juiced cabbage before, I would start off with a Chinese cabbage. And Chinese cabbage is also known as curly cabbage because it's kind of curly. And with Chinese cabbage is how it's different from other cabbages is that it's usually long and narrow, okay, compared to like a round cabbage. And the leafy part is quite curly. And so this has a very, very subtle taste. There's been times where I've juiced like an entire cabbage in my juice and I can barely taste it. That's how subtle it can be. Now, one thing I could say with cabbage though is that each cabbage, even if it's of the same variety, can taste a little bit different. And it's just how it is. It's kind of like no fruit tastes exactly the same. So you might buy like 5 Chinese cabbages where one of them has no taste to it and 3 of them have a very strong taste. But in general, most Chinese cabbage, out of all the cabbages available, has the most subtle taste. So you can juice more of this without tasting it or without it taking over the flavor of your juice. Great for beginners. And over here we have a round white cabbage. And I cut the center in here so you can just see close up that it's a very dense cabbage. Okay, so this is how you know this type of cabbage is that it's hard as a rock, and it's a heavier cabbage compared to the Chinese cabbage. I find this cabbage juices or yields the most liquid. Okay, and this I would say is kind of like a mid-range with the taste. It's got a much stronger flavor than the Chinese cabbage, but it's not super, super strong. So I would say it's kind of like a mid-range. And this is also could be a good cabbage for beginners to try as well. I would suggest though to use less. Start with a small amount of the cabbage in your juice, taste it, and if you find that the juice tastes fine or you can add in more cabbage to that juice, then go ahead and do it. But I just find start with less and add in a little bit more and keep tasting it to make sure that it doesn't overpower your juice. But in general, I find this to be a good kind of mid-range cabbage to use in your juice. And then lastly, we have purple cabbage. And this is similar to the white cabbage I just showed you, except that it's purple, and this is a spicy cabbage. So if you're kind of in the mood for more of a spicier kind of juice, I would go with the purple cabbage. But you don't need very much because this can be very strong. I would say that a recipe that calls, let's say, for a full head of Chinese cabbage, the first cabbage I showed you, I would say maybe a fourth or even an eighth of the purple cabbage would be the equivalent. That's how strong the taste of a purple cabbage can be in your juice. So that's something to take into consideration, that if you like the taste of cabbage in your juices and you've already previously experimented with it, then definitely try the purple cabbage, because it will definitely give more flavor, more spice to your juice, but it is very strong. So a little bit does go a long way. And like the white cabbage, it's also a very solid, heavy cabbage, that it yields a lot more juice than the first cabbage I showed you, than the Chinese cabbage. All right, so now what I want to do is actually show you how to make a juice using cabbage. I do find that with cabbage is the less ingredients you use, the better. And I also find too is that what works the best with the juice using cabbage would be apples and carrots. I find that you do need something more on the sweet side to balance out the taste of the cabbage. So in general, I like to just use apples and carrots with cabbage and make a juice like that. And I also like to use red bell pepper. I find that also to be a good combination. In general, too, with cabbage is that it is strong, and it can impact your digestive system quite a bit. And so I find, as I said earlier, that the fewer ingredients you use in your juice with it, the better. Usually that's what's going to prevent anyone from getting bloating or stomach upset, is that sometimes when you use too many ingredients with your cabbage in a juice, like using 5 or more ingredients in a juice, you'll end up getting bloated. But if you use perhaps cabbage and 1 or 2 or even 3 more ingredients, you'll do okay without getting bloated. Okay, so that is something to take into consideration. If you've tried juicing cabbage before and you were like, oh no, it got me all bloated, I had an upset stomach, then perhaps what you need to do is reduce the amount of cabbage you're using, and also simplify the juice and use maybe just 1 or 2 ingredients in that juice with the cabbage, and that will help tremendously with reducing any kind of stomach upset or reaction to it. So what we're going to use for the juice is 2 large carrots, a red bell pepper, 1 apple, and half of a Chinese cabbage, or half of a curly cabbage. If you were to be using either the white cabbage or the purple cabbage, I would use much less. I wouldn't use half a cabbage in this recipe with these 2. I would probably use either maybe an 1/8 or a 1/4 of one of these cabbages for this recipe. But with the Chinese cabbage, because it's very subtle in taste, you can actually go up to about a half of cabbage. And here are all our ingredients chopped up and ready to put through the juicer. Look at our beautiful juice. Isn't it a gorgeous color? I'm really excited to try this. And I have to say, like, any juice that has such a rich color like this is packed with nutrients, with vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, everything. And the reason why this juice, by the way, is so orange is not only because of the carrots, but actually because of the red bell pepper. And red bell pepper is one of my favorite vegetables to add to juices. So with any juice, okay, including this juice, one thing I do recommend whenever you're following a juice recipe is always taste the juice before you disassemble the juicer. Okay, so let's taste this juice. It's delicious, okay? And the reason why I recommend always tasting a juice before you disassemble and clean the juicer and put it away is The juice, if it's not to your liking, you can always fix it. And a lot of times people make the mistake that they make this huge batch of juices. They put everything away and then they taste it and they're like, oh, I wish it was a little sweeter, or I wish it wasn't so strong, or it's too sweet. And so by tasting your juice before you put the juicer away, you can always fix it. And let's say this juice, you find that the cabbage is too strong, you can always juice another apple, or you can juice another red bell pepper, and that will disguise the taste. Now if it's the reverse and you try the juice and you're like, whoa, it's too sweet and I wish I can taste more of that cabbage, then juice the remaining cabbage. We only juiced half a cabbage in this recipe, so you can certainly juice the rest of it, and that too will fix it. Okay, but in general I find following any juice recipe, because every fruit and vegetable that you juice is always going to have a slight variation in taste and flavor. And every juicer is different as well. So one juicer using the same exact produce is going to sort of create one thing, and another juice is going to create another type of juice. So always good to try your juices before you put it away. And this is an excellent, excellent juice, by the way. So if you want the full recipe, you can go to my website at radiantcentral.com. Click on today's blog post and the full recipe is written out there. And I just want to mention too that the new 7-day juice fasting program starts this coming Monday, August 3rd. So if you want to do a juice fast and you want to join a group and you want to get support and you want to have fun and support and motivation, join us for this juice fast. It's a live online program, so you can do it anywhere from around the world. All you need is either a juicer or a blender and strainer to make the juices. And once you sign up, you get the ebook with full instructions on how to do the juice fast, plus recipes, everything you need to know about doing a juice fast is in that ebook. Plus, for every day of the 7-day program, there's a video that you get to download and watch that will walk you through the entire juice fasting program. So it not only includes the juice fast, but also transitioning onto the juice fast and also transitioning off, which are just as important as the juice fast itself. And there's also a private Facebook group that you can join, and you get permanent access to that as well. And there you get to connect and meet everyone else doing the juice fast with you. I go on the Facebook group every single day for the duration of the program to support everyone and answer questions, and it's a lot of fun. It's always funner and better to do a juice fast as a group. So if you're thinking about doing a juice fast, join us. It starts this coming Monday, August 3rd, and it's for an entire week. And yeah, and it's so much fun. It's everyone always does better when they've got support and they've got other people doing it with them and they don't feel kind of alone. And I would say for anyone that's living in North America or Europe, summertime is a perfect time to do a juice fast. And especially in August, when right now all the fresh produce, everything, you can go outside, nice fresh air, everything. It really supports having a fun juice fast. So beginner juice fasters are welcome, as well as advanced. If you just want to join a group and have other people to do it with, that too, you're certainly welcome to join us. So if you want to sign up, go to my website at radiantcentral.com and you'll see juice fasting there. Click on that and there's more information and you can sign up there. Have a fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.